Ladies, do you feel women get the same quality of medical care as men? Now, I'm not affiliated with the medical profession, nor have I ever been, but let's face it, not every doctor graduates in the top 10% of his or her class. Sometimes you get a doctor who graduated in the bottom 10%, or whatever the lowest level is that one can graduate and still be licensed by the state or country in which one plans to practice. If you're a woman and you feel that your doctor does not always take your complaints about pain seriously, you have three choices. You can accept it, you can look for another doctor, or you can speak up. Ladies, we have to be our own healthcare advocates. According to Science Daily, a recent study conducted by the University of Miami suggests that when patients are asked to rate their levels of pain on a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being the worst, between those men and women expressing the same level of pain, the woman's pain is considered less intense based on gender stereotypes. The summary of that study says, and I quote, "Researchers found that when male and female patients expressed the same amount of pain, observers viewed female patients' pain as less intense and more likely to benefit from psychotherapy versus medication as compared to men's pain, exposing a significant patient gender bias that can lead to disparities in treatment." The following are just a few examples of doctors who, in my opinion, did not graduate in the top 10% of their class. The first case, a woman aged 41 wrote how she suffered from severe headaches and fatigue. She complained several times to her doctor, but he told her that at her age it was not unusual for women to have headaches, that it sounded like she might be entering perimenopause. Not once did he order any kind of testing. Finally, the woman went to see a different doctor who, after hearing her symptoms, ordered a blood test. The results showed that the woman was dangerously anemic, not somewhat anemic or moderately anemic, but dangerously anemic with severe lack of iron. The doctor immediately started her on a weekly injection of vitamin B12. Now this next one, I can't even believe. It's really too stupid, but here goes. A woman in her early 50s who had complained about recurring shoulder pain was told by her general practitioner that she was eating too much spicy food. I have to wonder how this doctor arrived at this diagnosis. This woman was very active, ran 2 miles every morning before going to work, and played basketball on a local women's team. So the doctor tells her too much spicy food, and then he sent her home. No testing, no x-rays, just sent her home. That's that bottom 10% I was talking about. The next day, she called a different doctor's office and was able to see a nurse practitioner. The nurse practitioner ordered x-rays of the woman's shoulder, and they found a mass on her rotator cuff. An orthopedic surgeon was called in who operated on the mass. The mass was found to be malignant. In another case, a 47-year-old woman awoke in the middle of the night, struggling to breathe, and was experiencing a sharp pain in her jaw, which was radiating down her neck. Her husband raced her to the local hospital. In the ER, they took a sample of her blood to measure enzymes, hormones, and proteins. Now, these markers can rise or fall during a heart attack. They can also retain an appearance of normalcy. The woman complained repeatedly about the sharp pain in her jaw, which is a classic symptom of cardiac distress. She and her husband suggested an electrocardiogram be performed, but they were told by the attending physician that it wasn't necessary because the woman didn't fit the profile of a heart attack victim. They sent her home with a neck brace. Within 20 minutes of arriving home, the woman was barely able to breathe at all, and the paramedics were called. The paramedics performed an EKG and determined that the woman was having a heart attack. At the husband's insistence, the woman was immediately transferred to a different hospital where they performed a catheterization, angioplasty, and a stent implant. The surgeon later announced that the woman had had a coronary blockage. So, what do you think? Have you ever had an experience in a hospital or doctor's office and thought, you know, had I been a man, that would have never happened? Be your own healthcare advocate. How? Every adult, male or female, needs a primary care physician that you see on a regular basis at least once a year. If you're age 60 and over, every 6 months. Ask what your doctor recommends. If you don't like the one you have, look for another doctor. Your PCP should be your lead doctor who coordinates with any specialists you may have. Should you develop symptoms you've not had before, share those symptoms with your primary care physician. Your primary care physician should refer you to an appropriate specialist who sees you, treats your medical issue, and reports the status of your condition back to your primary care physician. Got questions? Ask the doctor. If the doctor tries to treat you as if you're not capable of understanding, tell your primary care physician you want to find another specialist. And there's nothing to prevent you from looking around yourself. Go online, look up specialists in your area, Google them, find out where they went to medical school, and see how long they've been practicing. Then share that information with your primary care physician. Be your own healthcare advocate.